Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Ginger's tracking more severe weather, taking aim at the areas in Texas that were already hard hit. That is coming up as well.
First, Donald Trump's criminal trial jury set to go into its second day of deliberations after requesting excerpts from some of the testimony. Dan Abrams here to give analysis. Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, George. Today is going to be the first full day of deliberations for a jury that's already contemplating key pieces of the case that charges former President Trump with 34 counts of falsifying business records. This morning, the court is going to read back testimony from two prominent witnesses, David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, and Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen. The jury asked to hear how each of those men testified about a meeting at Trump Tower where prosecutors said they hatched a scheme with Trump to corrupt the 2016 election by hiding from voters lewd stories from Trump's past. Jurors also asked to hear Pecker's testimony about his phone call with Trump discussing Playboy model Karen McDougal. And the jury wants to rehear Judge Juan Merchan's instructions about the law when he told them to simply keep their promise to be fair and impartial and to set aside any personal opinions or bias they might have for or against Trump. Now, among the 7 men, 5 women jury, 2 lawyers, a teacher, a physical therapist, and their 5 hours of deliberations have already changed the vibe at this courthouse, George. The lawyers seem a little more tense, the court security officers more rigid as the jury gets ever closer in this landmark trial. George.
Aaron Katersky, thanks for being our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. So, Dan, it's hard to know what's going on inside that room for sure. But when you look at the requests, they're both focused on this meeting that would determine whether or not this was about interfering in the election.
Right, and this is where prosecutors want them to start, right? This is where prosecutors say the plan was hatched. In 2015 at Trump Tower with David Pecker and Michael Cohen and Donald Trump all there talking about how they're going to look out, how David Pecker is going to be the eyes and ears looking out for any negative stories about Donald Trump, potentially to help him politically. So that's a good place for prosecutors to want them to start. We just don't know exactly, are they just doing this chronologically? Was there something specific that was asked? That we don't know.
What about asking for the jury instructions to be reread?
Remember, in New York, there's a wrinkle in the law, right? In most jurisdictions, the jurors can take back with them the jury instructions, right?
Which makes sense.
Of course it makes sense. The idea that if they have a question, they can go, oh, well, this is the issue. In New York, you're not allowed to take those back with you. So if they have questions about, well, what did the judge say about the law? You have to literally ask the judge to read it again.
Can they take notes while he's doing it?
Yes, they can take notes, but then you have the problem, potentially, if 2 jurors have, well, wait a sec, my notes say this, and mine, all right, let's ask the judge again to read it again. So that's the challenge in New York about that. So I wouldn't read too much into the fact that they're asking about the instructions, but it does seem at the least they're taking the prosecution's case seriously.
Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, thank you, George. Now to Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito rejecting calls to recuse himself from cases involving January 6th. After pictures surfaced of 2 flags with political overtones flying outside his homes. Our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, has more. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Michael. This is the second time Justice Alito has tried to explain in writing what's going on with those flags at his homes, flags associated with the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Alito is now offering more details, but he remains defiant. This morning, Justice Samuel Alito is rejecting a request from congressional Democrats to recuse himself in 2 cases related to January 6th. The conservative justice had been under pressure to step aside from both cases after the New York Times first reported that 2 flags flown outside his residences were associated with those carried by the pro-Trump mob during the attack on the Capitol and are symbols adopted by the Stop the Steal movement. The Times first reported that an upside-down American flag, traditionally a signal of dire emergency, was seen outside Alito's Virginia home in January 2021, in the days after the attack on the Capitol.
What he did was really the wrong thing to do, and it casts some doubt on impartiality.
In a letter to lawmakers who were calling for his recusal, Alito insists he had nothing whatsoever to do with the flying of that flag, and that his wife Martha Ann had raised it during a very nasty neighborhood dispute. Alito adding he was not even aware of the upside-down flag until it was called to my attention, and that he asked his wife to take it down, but for several days she refused. My wife is fond of flying flags. I am not, Alito wrote, and he defended her freedom of speech. My wife is a private citizen, and she possesses the same First Amendment rights as every other American. The second flag, a pine tree flag with the words "An Appeal to Heaven," a Revolutionary War-era flag that was also carried by some pro-Trump rioters on January 6th, was seen flying at the Alito's New Jersey beach home last summer. Alito wrote that flag was simply one of many flags of sports teams, colleges, countries the couple has visited that were flown there, adding that Martha Ann makes her own decisions, and I honor her right to do so.
Congressional Democrats and many legal experts aren't satisfied with Alito's new letter. They say he's damaging the court's credibility, but there's not much they can do about it. The justices judge themselves, and that won't change unless there is an enforceable code of ethics. Robin?
You're right about that. Terry, thank you. We're going to turn now to the very close call between two planes at Reagan National Airport. One plane speeding down the runway to take off, the other just landing and on a possible collision course. Trevor Ault has those details for us. Good morning to you, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin. So these two planes were headed straight for each other with only seconds to spare. And this morning we're hearing the moment the air traffic controller clearly realized how dangerous this could be, telling an American Airlines plane to abort their takeoff immediately.
Runway 1, clear for takeoff.
This morning, another close call on the runway, this time at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. An American Airlines flight cleared for takeoff, barreling down the runway, just as a King Air flight was coming in to land on an intersecting runway.
2134, cancel takeoff clearance. Super King Air, 0 Alpha, go around.
The two aircraft on a potential collision course. The American Airlines flight already accelerating for takeoff, hitting speeds of 110 miles per hour when the air traffic controller told them to abort. That same air traffic controller telling the King Air plane to go around, but it was too late. The King Air flight already landed.
0 Alpha cannot go around. We were already on the ground.
The two planes coming just 1,300 feet from one another. It's the latest in a string of incidents on airport runways. Several close calls that have drawn attention to a nationwide shortage in air traffic controllers and stresses on the system. In a statement, American Airlines says the safety of our customers and team members is our top priority, and we're grateful to our crew for their professionalism. We will support the FAA in its investigation.
And that American Airlines plane that was taking off was already traveling so fast that it was then required to circle back to the gate and undergo another inspection before it could then actually take off. Now, fortunately, no injuries were reported on either plane here. Michael?
Yeah, that's the fortunate thing about it there, Trevor. Thank you so much for that. We're going to turn now to the latest on General Hospital star Johnny Wachter. Now, one of his co-workers revealed the details of the shooting, saying an actor was between her and the gunman. Kana Wentworth has the story, and Kana, this is a gripping account of what happened.
Yeah, Michael, it certainly is. So Anita Joy, who Johnny called Anita Bonita, details Johnny's heroic actions, what he did in the final moments of his life to save hers. In fact, she calls him her guardian angel.
This morning, the co-worker of Johnny Wachter, who was with him at the time of his death, breaking her silence. She writes, "I was with Johnny in his last moments, and I'm here to be his voice after such unimaginable events." Anita Joy taking to Instagram, explaining she needed time to collect myself and my thoughts before detailing the events of that fateful night, culminating with the former General Hospital star shielding her before being fatally shot. My friend of 8 years went from laughing together, working side by side, leaving our bartending shift and walking to our cars, to him dying in my arms in the streets of DTLA in the dark hours of 3 a.m. Police say they came across 3 suspects dressed in black and wearing masks, trying to steal his car's catalytic converter, one of them opening fire on Wachter before fleeing in a dark sedan. Joy writing, "Johnny was between me and the man who shot him. As I heard the shot ring into the night, he forcefully tumbled back into my arms. As I grabbed for him, I shouted, 'Honey, you okay?' And he only responded, 'Nope, shot.'" She goes on to describe the chaos that followed as her friend lay dying in her arms. She screamed for help. Then a security guard she knew called 911 and tied her jacket around Wachter in an attempt to stop the bleeding. But it wasn't enough. According to Joy, it was too close range, too extreme of a wound for him to survive. But my God, he fought to stay.
Now, she now joins a chorus of other actors, friends, and loved ones that are all calling for justice. In fact, she writes, "My only other piece will be seeing these awful men brought to justice." And Robin, as we know, for the LAPD, this investigation has really just begun.
It has. All right, Kana, thank you. Now we go on to top golfer Scottie Scheffler. Prosecutors have dropped all charges against him from his arrest outside the PGA Championship earlier this month, and now we're seeing body cam video from the incident. Victor Oquendo has more for us. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Robin. This all happened as Scottie Scheffler was playing arguably the best golf since Tiger Woods in his prime, and just days after having his first child, his attorney telling ABC News they're glad it's over.
This morning, case closed. A Kentucky prosecutor dropping all criminal charges against the world's #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler.
Based upon the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward in the prosecution of the charges filed against Mr. Scheffler.
Scheffler saying in a statement on Instagram, "I wish to put this incident behind me and move on." It all happened after a fatal accident led to heavy traffic before the second round of the PGA Championship at Valhalla Golf Club. Detective Brian Gillis saying Scheffler refused to comply with his directions and dragged him with his car, injuring him and tearing his uniform. Scheffler was booked on felony assault and other charges. The golfer calling it a big misunderstanding, the county attorney agreeing. This, as newly obtained footage, reveals a tense conversation between Scheffler and another officer right after the incident.
I was afraid. I didn't know who he was. He didn't say, "Police, get out of the car." He just hit me with his flashlight and yelled, "Get out of the car."
We're wearing a lot of police gear. That surely signifies that we're the police.
Believe me, if I knew he was a police officer, I would have gotten out of the car.
Scheffler's attorney doubling down on Scottie's stance.
All they were trying to do is get him to admit to something that he didn't do, and the video shows he didn't do it.
In a statement, Louisville PD saying they respect the county attorney's decision and they respect the judicial process.
And overnight, Detective Gillis released a statement saying in part that it was disturbing for Scheffler's attorney to challenge his honesty and integrity, that he was dragged and injured, but moving forward, he and Scheffler agree there is no ill will. George?
Okay, Victor, thanks. Now to the latest major retailer to slash prices. It's coming from Walgreens as customers push back on high prices. Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis is here. And Rebecca, give us the details on this price cut.
Yeah, good morning, George. Nice to see you guys. Shoppers have really just reached a breaking point here. After years of price hikes, Walgreens is joining a growing group of retailers now cutting prices on essentials, hoping to win back cash-strapped customers. The move impacts over 1,300 items, ranging from toiletries to snacks and gadgets. So, for example, this Eucerin hand cream, it was $7.29. Now it's $6. Men's and women's gummy vitamins are down from $13.49 to $11.99. And this bag of potato chips is down from $2.79 to $1.99. In recent weeks, we have seen Target, Walmart, and Amazon all roll out their own price cuts to try and attract inflation-wary consumers. The biggest driver of these cuts is shoppers. Americans are trading down. They are cutting back with prices up 20 to 30% from pre-pandemic levels. And it seems like we've just reached this tipping point with retailers waging price wars to try and win back a bigger piece of your paycheck.
McDonald's too?
McDonald's as well. And what we've seen from McDonald's is that they are dealing with the very same issues as retailers are. Customers are at their breaking point with sticker shock. McDonald's president Joe Erlinger addressed some of the outrage on social media that a Big Mac meal costs $18. He says that's at just one location, only one location, and the average price nationwide is $9.29. Still, that is a 27% increase since before the pandemic, and when it comes to the overall menu, Erlinger says prices are up roughly 40% due to supply chain issues and wages. Yep, Robin, and just like Walgreens, Target, and others, they're now cutting prices to get customers back in the door. McDonald's is rolling out its own $5 value menu this summer, and you know, this is kind of economics 101. You play hard to get. As a consumer, you get better deals.
Forgive me if you don't have the answer. Where does it cost $18?
It costs $18 at one location, George, and I just want to point out that McDonald's is a franchise. Most of their restaurants are franchises, so the franchises themselves set the prices. It's near here where it's $18.
Wow. And you'll be back in your next hour with more on Amazon?
Yep, back on Amazon. They're all these retailers, they know that people are stretched. They are cutting prices.
Enough is enough.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you in just a little bit. Okay. Also coming up, first on GMA, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, free after nearly 9 years in prison for helping to kill her mother. She's here. She's talking about her new life and her divorce.
And our exclusive with the veteran who survived the bear attack on his honeymoon.
And lava shooting into air at a popular tourist spot. Our team is there live. First, let's go to Ginger.
Yes, a severe thunderstorm just blanketed West Texas with hail. And a lot of people will say, wait a minute, hail in summer or spring? That's exactly when we see hail. You have to have the heat to make a thunderstorm that reaches so high in the atmosphere that it produces ice from tapping into that cold air. And so behind this, the temperature dropped 50 degrees because it was a pretty strong cold front. We're going to have that dynamic jet stream that we've had, and why we've had such a stormy pattern with such a huge May numbers-wise for both damaging wind and tornadoes. And unfortunately, in West Texas, including the Panhandle today, more big hail. We're talking 2+ inch in diameter. And then all the way from Garden City down to San Angelo, watch for those damaging winds, easily in excess of 60 miles per hour.
We've got the exclusive view behind the table. Every day, right after the show, while the topics are still hot, the ladies go deeper into the moments that make the View the View. The Views Behind the Table podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Go all Aldi with summer barbecue sizzlers, now only $2.99 each, including specially selected Black Angus reduced fat 6-ounce burgers was $3.79, now only $2.99. Plus, specially selected Black Angus ultimate 6-ounce beef burgers, Butcher Selection quick cooked chicken fillets, and Butcher Selection pork belly strips worth $3.49 each, now only $2.99 each. All Board B quality assured. Go all Aldi while stocks last.
Welcome back to GMA. Wit is live on a bus right now near Boston. High school students transformed that school bus into a camper van for their final school project and the summer road trip of a lifetime. You can see they're putting the finishing touches on right now. The deadline is tomorrow, so you better hurry up, guys. And we can't wait to meet Wit's new friends in our next hour.
Looking forward to that. Following a lot of headlines right now. Donald Trump's criminal trial is first. The jury is set to go into its second day of deliberations after requesting excerpts of some of the testimony. This morning, the court will read back testimony from two prominent witnesses, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker and Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen. Also right now, the Justice Department says it has taken down a massive botnet that it estimates resulted in billions of dollars of losses to financial institutions around the globe. More than 19 million computers were infected, which allowed cyber criminals to use them to carry out hacking, fraud, and harassment campaigns. The Chinese national accused of creating it was taken into custody last week.
And Nissan issued a do not drive warning for some 84,000 vehicles with recalled Takata airbags. The vehicles were already subject to recalls due to the possibility that the front passenger airbag inflators could explode from high temperatures and humidity. The warning involves certain 2002 to 2006 Nissan Sentras, 2002 to 2004 Pathfinders, and some 2002 to 2003 Infinities. And we've got a lot more ahead, including the GMA Grocery Challenge, the facts about buying in bulk, when it could lead to big savings and when it could be a big mistake. Yeah, it's all coming up, Robin.
Okay, Michael, but now Gypsy Rose Blanchard, speaking about her life after prison, where she served more than 8 years for plotting to have her mother killed after years of abuse. Juju sat down with her. Oh, good morning to you, Juju.
Good morning, Robert. It's quite a story, and you'll remember Gypsy spent those years in prison for helping plan her mother's bloody murder. But that was after surviving more than 20 years of abuse by her mom's bizarre medical lies about her. Now, Gypsy says she's trying to set the record straight, and she's just learning to navigate the wild ups and downs of the first few months of real freedom she's ever known.
Hi, I'm Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
She's an unlikely social media star, from her makeup tutorials
Get ready with me
to her secret prison recipes.
So I'm about to show you how to make a prison-style energy drink with only 4 ingredients.
The controversial and complicated Gypsy Rose Blanchard has amassed nearly 10 million followers in the 5 months since getting out of prison.
Hi, Gypsy. Hi.
Some people might hide from the spotlight, but you're going in a different direction.
Sometimes I kind of feel like I have no choice.
What do you mean by that? Certainly you have choice. You don't have to post.
No, I don't. But I mean, I think that with social media is concerned, I think that I wanted to be like everyone else. and have that right of freedom to have social media and interact with my friends online. I had no idea that I would have 9.8 million followers.
Gypsy's fame and infamy came after she pled guilty to second-degree murder for plotting to have her mother killed after years of abuse. Her mother, Dee Dee, forced her to undergo unnecessary surgeries, shaved her head, and kept her in a wheelchair with a feeding tube.
You're often portrayed either as the victim of Munchausen or the murderer.
Right.
And what do you want people to know about you?
Quite honestly, I'm starting to feel like they want a perfect victim, and there is no such thing as a perfect victim. In their mind, the perfect victim would have died. And so now that I survived and the perpetrator of the abuse is the one that died, then I'm getting the hate.
With new freedom comes a new look. She's gone blonde and has had cosmetic surgery, including a nose job.
I have always been very self-conscious about my nose. I wanted to do it for myself, my self-esteem, what would make me feel beautiful about myself.
That surgery must have felt different.
It did. It did feel different because I got to choose whether or not it was necessary.
In December, Gypsy was granted parole after serving more than 8 years in a Missouri prison.
Lots of them.
Her first months of freedom captured in a new Lifetime docuseries, Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup.
Not every day is a fairy tale in life.
While still behind bars, Gypsy met and married Ryan Anderson, and cameras were there as he picked her up from prison to begin their new life together in Louisiana.
What if I snore?
Well, then we got to get a divorce right away.
But by April, Gypsy filed for divorce.
What went so wrong so fast?
People need to understand that Ryan and I had been in a relationship for 3 years. And in those 3 years, we had been through a lot of ups and downs. And sometimes relationships just take its course.
And there was some intimation, some reporting out there that you were afraid of him. Is that accurate?
I'm not afraid of Ryan. I think that there is some things that happened that I think we both wish wouldn't have.
Anderson's attorney telling ABC News any allegations of abuse leveled against Mr. Anderson are false and adamantly denied. And we consider any such allegations to be defamatory in nature.
Do you regret the marriage?
I regret getting married while I was still in prison. I don't regret the relationship.
Now Gypsy is focused on moving forward while making peace with her past.
You got a lot of backlash on Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm. It does not go without notice that my own biological mother is not here.
What do you feel like the backlash was about, and what, if anything, have you learned from it?
Being associated with anything to do with a mother or mother figure, I'm going to get backlash for it. I wanted to acknowledge her. I wanted to honor her memory. And if I got hate for that, then so be it.
At this point, you're aware that you will always be associated with as somebody who helped murder her mother.
Right. I go through my own guilt on a daily basis, and so it's not like I could ever hide from that. But I don't know if people want me to crawl up in a ball and just start crying all the time. I can't live that way. I have to heal myself.
You've moved back in with Dad and stepmom, but you call her Mom.
She has been the one person that I know without a doubt has my best interests at heart. Hey y'all, so me and Christy are in NOLA.
Christy, what do you think about how far she's come?
Oh, she's come a long way. She's not the little meek girl anymore.
And what motherly advice do you give her?
What you don't know doesn't hurt you. What people say about her shows their character, pretty much. And just know in her heart that the people that know her and love her know the truth.
What is the truth?
The truth is that she is remarkable.
Now, Gypsy says she's often overwhelmed by choices, like in the grocery store, everywhere, all the decisions she has to make for herself, really for the first time ever. But one big choice she's made recently was to rekindle her flame with her former fiancé, another man she first met as a pen pal behind bars. She's called him the love of a lifetime and says, but this time she's going to take it slow.
And even though she's 32 years old, you can just tell how young and just naive in some ways she is.
Absolute lack of life life experience.
Right,
She just doesn't have it. Yeah, it's fascinating.
And what's fascinating is how her story has taken hold with so many people.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, young people are obsessed. It's part of why she has such a huge social media following. I ask my kids about it. They're all obsessed with it.
They're very, very, very well. And there's so much more, I know, for your interview. And you can see more of Juju's interview with Gypsy on Nightline. And Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup premieres Monday night, June 3rd on Lifetime, Michael.
All right, thank you, Robin. Coming up next, Matt Gutman has an exclusive interview with the man who came face-to-face with a bear and survived. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Michael. Shane Patrick was hiking on his honeymoon in the Grand Tetons, and then he saw a grizzly bear cub. Mama bear was not far behind. How he survived, coming up next.
Back now with a veteran on his honeymoon who came face-to-face with a grizzly bear, protecting her cub, and somehow lived to tell the tale. Matt Gutman spoke with him exclusively. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Shane Patrick survived deployments in Iraq. He survived a brain tumor, the loss of family members, but it was a different danger that lurked in the Wyoming woods. One that weighs about 400 pounds, can run about 30 miles an hour, and has 4-inch-long razor-sharp claws.
Chloe and Shane Patrick were hiking on a honeymoon in the Grand Tetons, celebrating marriage and Shane's recovery from a brain tumor.
So I was moving, and I was just like, at this point, just watching my GPS.
They split up because Shane was trying to find a particular owl, but an owl wasn't the animal he encountered.
It was close enough for me to identify that it was definitely a cub.
What does your body do when you register, A, that there's a cub, and immediately then you see an adult grizzly, and it's charging you?
I locked up, and it's the decision-making and such a fearful moment. It's insane how fast it all happens. I don't know. I just went to pure instinct.
He had bear spray, but not enough time to use it.
I just was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to spray this animal. That's when I ducked and covered. She just bit down each leg, and she picked me up and kind of thrashed me around. That's when she went towards my head. But I kept my hands interlocked like this and just trying to protect my arteries in my neck. She bit down and got my left wrist and my right hand. I heard a pop, and at that point in my head, I was like, all right, she's in my skull.
But it wasn't his skull, it was the bear spray can. After a taste of that, Mama Bear ran off.
Then the pepper kind of hit me, and I was like, you're still alive.
Alive, but badly wounded, he scrambled up a hill and managed to get a call through to his wife, Chloe, who's an EMT.
I said, I got attacked by a grizzly bear. I'm not sure exactly the damage yet. So she goes right into EMT mode, telling me to improvise tourniquets.
I hung up the phone not knowing if I had just spoken to my husband for the last time.
Eventually, Rangers get to him, and what's the first thing he tells them?
I was just like, please don't kill the bear. She was just defending her cub.
And in fact, the Rangers decided he was right. So everyone survived the day.
The brain tumor, surgery.
It went really well.
Yeah, I was good after that, but, the universe decided to test me again, I guess.
No one ever starts their day thinking, I'm going to get attacked by a bear today. It happened to us. And I'm really grateful that my husband was prepared and had these wonderful instincts to be able to preserve his life and make it back to us.
And the experts say that Shane did everything right. If you are charged or attacked by a grizzly bear, you should play dead. You want to lie flat on your stomach and cover your head and your neck with your arms and your hands. And only if the attack persists, the experts say, should you try to fight back, and do so with everything you've got. Guys.
Got it. Wow. So glad he's doing well.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Wishing a long and happy marriage.
Wow. Coming up, our team is live on the scene where lava is shooting into the air near a popular tourist spot. And look at that right there. Unbelievable sight in the land of fire and ice. A volcanic eruption in Iceland sent lava spewing 150 feet into the air. It forced hundreds of tourists to evacuate. Marcus Moore is on the scene in Iceland. Good morning, Marcus.
Well, George, good morning. We are about 30 miles outside of Reykjavik this morning, and I want you to see this. This is where lava crossed an entire roadway yesterday. And this morning, you can feel the heat radiating from the hardened lava, and there's also a very distinct smell of gas. This as that volcano erupts just a short distance away from here. In fact, we have a live picture showing you really extraordinary scenes there. This eruption starting yesterday morning, just after residents were warned of increased earthquake activity. That lava shooting 150 feet into the air, coming from a split in the earth that stretches for more than a mile and a half. And this eruption, or this flare-up of activity here on the Reykjanes Peninsula, really started back last November. That's when 4,000 residents were permanently evacuated from the town of Grindavik, where we are this morning. And officials also shut down the popular Blue Lagoon tourist destination because of this eruption. And George, I want you to see again this lava that you can see in the distance behind me, and also the heat waves in the distance. They have set up barriers to try to divert the lava away from the town of Grindavik. You see those buildings, and so they've managed to protect homes. But this is the land of fire and ice as it continues to unfold. Guys,
wow, that is some sight.
Yeah, I hope everybody stays safe like out there. Wow.
We'll be right back.
Wow.
Get ready for a summer of gaming with Currys. Our selection of gaming products are your gateway to incredible new worlds to discover, play, and explore. With great deals on next-level gaming PCs, consoles, and accessories, we've got everything you need to get your game on. Shop in-store or online at currys.ie.
Lainey Wilson, now streaming on Hulu. The story you haven't heard.
I experienced a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy.
Lainey Wilson.
It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
And the CMA Award for Entertainer of the Year
goes to
Lainey Wilson.
Hey y'all, it's Lainey. I cannot wait for you to see my special streaming on Hulu. This has been a wild ride, and you'll get to ride alongside me on this journey.
Lainey Wilson, Bell Bottom Country, now streaming only on Hulu.
Let's look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with Donald Trump's criminal trial. Jury set to go into its second day of deliberations after requesting excerpts of some of the testimony. Aaron Tursky's at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And George, good morning to you. Jurors have deliberated about 5 hours so far. In that time, they sent 2 notes. The jury asked to have some testimony, 4 pieces of testimony read back to them from former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker and from former President Trump's one-time fixer Michael Cohen. All 4 pieces of that evidence involve Trump's knowledge of and involvement in the alleged scheme to corrupt the 2016 election. The jury also asked to rehear the judge's instructions about the law and what the prosecution needs to prove to convict Trump of falsifying business records. Trump must be here at the courthouse throughout the entire deliberations, whenever the jury is out, in case there's some note, or eventually at some point, George, in case there's a verdict. George.
And I know you'll be on a close watch all day. Okay, Aaron, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, George, now to the very close call between 2 planes at Reagan National Airport. One plane speeding down the runway to take off, the other just landing. Let's go back to Trevor Alt with more for us. Good morning again, Trevor.
Good morning again, Michael. So these 2 planes were essentially on a collision course. You had an American Airlines plane that was clear for takeoff. It's barreling down the runway, hitting speeds of 110 miles an hour, as at the same time a King Air flight had been cleared to land on a separate runway, and those 2 paths were intersecting up ahead. And you can hear, as they had seconds to spare, the air traffic controller realizing the danger, urgently telling the American Airlines plane to abort the takeoff, telling the King Air flight to circle around. But it was already so late that King Air flight was already on the ground. Now, thankfully, the American Airlines plane was able to slam on the brakes, and fortunately, there were no injuries reported on either plane here. But this is just the latest in a string of incidents on airport runways, a lot of close calls. It is highlighting a national shortage in air traffic controllers, and whether or not those controllers that are working may be overworked or stressed, on top of all the general stresses on the system as we head into a very busy summer travel season. Now, the FAA is going to be investigating this incident, and American Airlines says they're going to support that investigation. Robin?
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much, Trevor. Now to Jimmy Kimmel. Back on the air last night after his 7-year-old son, Billy, had his 3rd heart surgery. Will Reeve is here with what the late night host said. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Robin. Overnight, Jimmy Kimmel on his show with an update on Billy after he underwent his 3rd heart surgery over Memorial Day weekend. Take a listen.
After an extra long holiday weekend, we spent most of it at Children's Hospital. Our son Billy had an open heart surgery. He's doing very well. Thank you for your good wishes. And Thank you for your thoughts.
Billy was diagnosed from birth with a heart condition called tetralogy of Fallot and endured his first open heart surgery when he was just 3 days old to repair it. Back then, baby Billy joining his dad on the show, Jimmy saying he cries more than Billy does. Well, now here's present-day Billy, just days post-surgery, returning home to find an unexpected guest, a hawk.
That's me.
Jimmy sharing this video last night on his show. There's Billy in the background running away from all the chaos. We are glad that he is back home happy and healthy, guys.
We sure are. Okay, well, thanks very much. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, summer savings, how to access some of the deals from your memberships that you might not know about.
Also here at the GMA Grocery Challenge on the bulk items, on the best items to buy in bulk and the ones you're better off keeping small.
Plus, WNBA superstar, there she is, Stewie, Brianna Stewart, fresh off the win last night. She's here talking about her game-changing brand new basketball league. You heard me. Plus, Tori Johnson rolling into Times Square. Hey, Tori.
Hey, Robin, that's right. This morning we've got deals and steals on the go, savings for all of your summer travel and more. And best of all, it's all 50% off. That's coming up right here on Good Morning America.
And we are back now with our GMA cover story, how to use your subscriptions to save this summer. Amazon is teaming up with Grubhub for a new deal that helps cut food costs for Prime members. Rebecca Jarvis back with these details. Welcome back. Tell us how it works.
So let's just set the scene here, George. The reason they're doing this ultimately is they want more people to become Prime members. Target and Walmart have their own programs. Shoppers really like those as well. They want people to spend that $139 a year to become Prime members. This new service allows you to get Grubhub Plus, which is a value of $120 a year for free. And the way that it will work is that you can now order your Grubhub on Amazon.com and through the Amazon app. You also will save, as a Prime member, $5 on orders over $25 until June 2nd. And you want to think about, if you're somebody who orders a lot of food online, you know that those fees, both the delivery fees, the service fees, it can really add up. Sometimes it feels like you're paying more in those fees than you're paying for your actual food. Grubhub Plus allows you to see those numbers diminish so that you're paying a lot less for those
Do you have to do
deliveries.
anything special to get access?
Right now you can go to Amazon.com/Grubhub and you'll see exactly what the program entails. And for that $5 off your $25 order, you do have to enter in the code PRIME5 at checkout. And again, that runs through June 2nd.
Anybody with a credit card can save money, though.
And anyone with a credit card, you've got points. Most credit cards do cash back. I do want to just stipulate, though, you're only saving money if you're paying your bills on time. So if you are looking at credit card offers thinking, oh, this is great because I get cash back. Well, if you're spending on that APR each month, you're not getting anything back. There are a number of cards, whether it's your Amex, Visa, Chase, they all are offering cash back. We found these on Amex, where you get $10 back when you spend $60 at Macy's or UPS, $15 when you spend $60 at Stanley, $5 back when you spend $15 at McDonald's. One more thing, in some cases you do have to opt into these programs, so go into your app.
Those are big rebates.
They're significant, and it's significant too if you see 3% back, cash back at the grocery store or the gas station. It does add up. Again, pay your bill on time. That's the way to get cash back.
Advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca. Robin?
All right, you all, joining us now, two-time Olympic gold medalist, two-time WNBA MVP, Brianna Stewart. Yes, Stewie. The New York Liberty Star is also the co-founder of a brand new women's basketball league that is called Unrivaled. Give it up for Stewie here at GMA. Come on. I mean, you were on the court last night.
I know. I don't know how you do it. These early mornings, it's a lot.
Well, congrats on the victory. It's a Wednesday night last night, and the place is packed.
Mm-hmm.
What is this explosion in the women's game for you as a player? What has that experience been like for you?
Honestly, for me, it's been a long time coming. I feel like, as we know, this product has been here this entire time, and now people are kind of finally seeing what we have to offer. But like you said, Wednesday night, the arena's packed. WNBA games are happening frequent and often this summer. And I hope people are seeing, whether they're new fans or old fans, that just continue to come and support.
Whatever, brought them to the game.
Literally.
Yeah, okay, so you talk about the WNBA season, the summer.
Yeah.
In the off season, many times players have had to go abroad to play. You are starting a new venture that will begin at the beginning of the year with your former UConn teammate, Fisa.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us about this new league.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just to touch on what you said, obviously in a typical women's basketball life, you play in the WNBA and you go overseas. And there's a 7-month gap where, our W players aren't home, aren't in market. And Fee and I are co-founders in Unrivaled, which is going to launch in Miami come 2025. And it's going to be the top 30 athletes where we'll play 3-on-3, 1-on-1, and just be home, be in market, and be able to be in a market that isn't a W team, but continue to grow the game and grow brands.
So it's going to stay there in Miami, which is very important to the players. They didn't want to be traveling all around during the offseason, so it's going to be there. 3-on-3. The court's going to be a little bit different?
Yep, the court's going to be a little bit smaller, so like around 60 feet in comparison to 94, but full court 3-on-3. So we'll have to make sure our cardio is up. We'll have a little bit of a training camp in this 10-week window. But I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to be playing, be around the best, continue to get better. And Miami's not a bad place to be.
It's not, no, especially that time of the year. What sets it apart? Because there's been some other 3-on-3 leagues, but what sets this league, Unrivaled, apart?
I think what sets Unrivaled apart is, especially in the women's world, this has never happened before. And this is the largest average salary in women's sports.
Say that again.
Yeah. The average salary is the highest ever in a women's league around the world. And 6 figures, making sure that, not only are we going to have the best product, but also the product is going to get what we deserve.
And also, aren't they going to have some equity in the game and the league as well?
All 30 players are going to have equity in this league, and obviously this is year one. We want to start with a bang, but knowing the potential and like you said, the movement of women's sports is going to continue to grow, and we're going to make sure that it's better and better year after year.
Because this is proof again. This is not a moment we're talking about a movement here. I know you can't give us all the deets because you're still working out like the TV package and all that. So 30 players. 30 players. Can you just give us an indication of the players that we're going to be seeing?
Well, obviously Fee and I.
Okay,
so that's easy.
All right.
And then there's going to be all-stars. Players that have been in the All-Star game will be a part of this as well. And I can't tell you any names because it's a secret, so maybe I'll just have to come on again and give you a little rundown. But it's going to be the best of the best.
Yeah, you really wanted this to be. You want to leave the game better than you found it. Isn't part of why you're doing this what you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. This is my why. This is a part of what we do in the WNBA. We're trying to continue to grow the game individually and collectively, and making sure that now we're filling gaps, filling voids of not seeing these W players throughout the entire off season. And now we're going to be around.
Going to be in Miami.
Yeah,
okay, road trip.
Yes, come on.
Okay, 2024 Olympics, Paris?
Can't believe it. It's coming so quickly.
I know. You already have 2 gold medals, so we'll see. Okay.
Got to keep it going.
Yeah. Hey, Stewie, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing and what you want to do to not only raise a level of women's basketball, but women's sports in general. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, come on back. Let us know who those players are.
I got you.
All right. Unrivaled will tip off next January in Miami. Michael, you ready?
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm ready for that, Robin. I'm all for that. And thank you, Stewie, for bringing that to women's basketball. And now to a group of high school seniors who are transforming a standard yellow school bus into a camper for the ultimate cross-country summer road trip. And it's all for school credit. Whit Johnson is with those students in Milton, Massachusetts. Good morning to you, Whit. Look like you're having a lot of fun.
Right, absolutely, Michael. Good morning to you. Take a look at this transformation already. This is not your average school bus. Come on in for a tour. These guys here, these are my new buddies. They haven't slept in weeks. They've been working around the clock trying to finish this project by tomorrow because that's when it's due. And their message of growth through trial and error, teamwork, never being afraid to fail is one that is resonating around the world.
We're about to wash the bus down so we can paint. The ultimate senior project and the summer road trip of a lifetime.
I made our kitchen. I'm going to put a counter up top.
5 classmates from Milton Academy outside Boston with a little help from their friends.
I turned the lights on.
Yeah! Transforming this tired old school bus into a tricked out RV.
It kind of had to be something where we were all together because it's kind of our last hurrah.
We really wanted to get our hands dirty and build something physical.
As part of a graduation requirement, seniors take a month-long break from classes to focus on a project of their choosing.
The parameters are pretty wide. What we want for students is for them to spend the last month of their senior year really engaging in something that they love.
The group combining all of their savings. Finding the bus was the easy part.
Facebook Marketplace, man.
Yeah.
You can buy anything.
We scatter around the internet for a little bit. We're like, wait, a lot of people are selling buses.
Then rewiring the electrical, adding appliances, a rooftop deck, a triple bunk bed.
These are the beds. These are the bunk beds. This is a triple decker here.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight.
Especially for this one down here.
I even helped with some finishing touches.
First one's good?
Yeah, and then down here.
First one's good.
There.
The teens documenting their progress on social media.
It's now been 2 weeks since we started renovating this bus to take in a road trip.
Amassing 2 million followers on Instagram.
It's not even just Milton, but I think people around the world are also really excited to see what we're doing.
This bus building much more than friendships, now a viral vehicle of inspiration.
Learning by doing, I think, right? Like kind of jumping in head first, being not afraid to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. I'm inspired by my friends every day, and they push me to work harder, and they push everyone to work harder, and it's been amazing.
Just love this. And I'm here with Benjamin and Kevin right now. All right, guys, everybody wants to know, what's the plan for the big road trip?
So it's been a crazy past few days, but we're super excited to, launch into summer with some short trips around the Northeast, maybe a few days, a couple of days, and then sort of see how the whole bus thing works out and test it all out.
Yeah, and at the end of July will be our big road trip where all 10 of us are going to cram in this bus and drive across the country. We hope to meet as many of you as possible, and our big goal is to touch the Pacific Ocean.
I love that. Touch the Pacific. All right, guys. Hey, I hope you guys come visit us in Times Square, maybe on your way out. Yeah. All right, you ready? Ready for the road trip? Yeah. Let's go. Back to you guys.
All right, they look like they're ready, Whit. You just make sure you don't join them. You come back here. We need you here, Whit. Now we're going to go to Ginger. Hey, Ginger.
I'm happy to provide the forecast along the road. As they're headed over to the West Coast, you get in touch. Your people, my people. Speaking of, we've been looking at those record highs. I mean, just a baking month of May. Some places the hottest May that they've had in South Florida. But look at Winter Haven had a record of 99. Tampa was 97. Things will tame down just a little the next couple days, but today Tampa could hit another record, as could Miami. So lots of heat there, and then building heat out in the west. This is an area that hasn't seen as much as South Florida, but Redding by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week above 110.
Time now for Deals and Steals. Tori Johnson is here. As we head into the busy summer months, we have great product to help when you're on the go. Good morning, Tori. Let's get to it. What we got?
Let's get to it.
Luggage.
No matter where you're going, for over 100 years, Samsonite's been the trusted go-to companion. So, yeah, look at those. What I love about this is that it's extremely lightweight.
But it looks...
And it's incredibly durable. So you don't want the suitcase itself to be all the weight, because once you lug all your stuff in there, easy maneuverability. Look how fabulous the wheels are on all of these spinners for both checked as well as carry-on luggage. They've thought about everything on the inside, too. So many compartments to be able to have increased packing space. They've really kind of considered all of your travel needs with these. We've got a huge assortment, even more colors, more collections than you see right here. Everything slash and half starting at $99.
$99 for luggage is excellent.
So this is a mouthful, but an important one. This is the Pivot Explorer Dreams all-terrain stroller wagon from Evenflow. Yeah, so it's big name because it does a lot. So you got space in here for 2 kids, 6 months to 5 years old, even more leg room. When you take this out, you can see they've extended even more leg room in there. Yep, exactly. And then when it's time for nap, it comes with a little extender here to create it into a bassinet. So you can literally take the kids anywhere and accommodate whether you're on the go or nap time. You can pull or push all terrain. They too have thought of every single feature on these. This is slashed in half today as well.
They need that in the adult size so I can take a nap.
Right? Okay, Parker and Hyde, great bags for on the go. We've got the totes, we've got the belt bag right here, messenger bags. The material's fabulous, a really great nylon weave, and it looks fabulous. It accessorizes any outfit. Everybody loves these from Parker and Hyde. Savings at least of 50%, starts at $24 and free shipping from Parker and Hyde. And you got a bag there on the way.
I like it.
All right, so from your bags to your feet, Atrex. It allows you to walk in ultimate comfort. These are precision-made premium orthotics. They're anatomically correct, and what I love about these is that they're made for specific conditions and activities. So you're going to choose based on gender, shoe size, and activity. So you'll see casual comfort, speed, we have fashion, we've got a whole bunch of different options. So if you have conditions like plantar fasciitis, arch pain, heel pain, any kind of foot condition, they make a product specifically for you. All of these today, slashed in half, starting at $25 and free shipping from Atrex.
Yep, I'm on the casual comfort side of that, not the speed side anymore.
Okay, Luso Gear. This is the easiest way to keep kids organized on the go. So if you look on the other side of this, if this was the parent in the front seat, kid in the back seat, we've got the back seat organizer right there to keep everything in its place. This tray is pretty fabulous for the car, plane, train. It has a dry erase surface on the top. It's got all the pockets on the sides. This is snacks, activities.
Something that holds your iPad.
Holds something that holds their iPad, keeps them all in case. This is a car trash can, car organizers. They've really kind of thought of all of these options. These are the products that you didn't know you needed, but you'll love having them. 50% off starts at $10.50.
Cool
And
idea.
then
Great
finally,
idea.
so smart, right? My Magic Carpet. So when you want to make sure that your floors are covered, stylish way to cover your floors. Two great things about these. Not only do they feel good, they've got a non-slip grip on the other side that's not going to wear off in the washer and dryer, and then also a liner here so that if you spill, it's not going to go through and ruin your floors.
And great patterns.
Great patterns. 25 different patterns, 6 sizes, starts at $40.
50% off.
You got
Tori, you do it again. Great deals by
Thank
Tori Johnson. We want to thank her, and we partnered with these companies on these great deals. You can get them on our website, goodmorningamerica.com. Coming up, the GMA Grocery Challenge, bulk or not to bulk? That is the question.
People who disappear without a trace.
Where is she?
The most notorious murder cases in New York.
Pure evil.
And the most devious killers.
There's a Hannibal Lecter feel to him.
For chilling true crime stories, follow the True Crime NYC podcast wherever you listen.
When it comes to winning elections, is it really the economy, stupid? Are soccer moms the quintessential swing voter? And does it matter which candidate you'd rather share a beer with? Every election cycle, cliches come easy. But are they right? In a new series on the 538 Politics podcast, we're taking a look back at conventional wisdom from past elections. Where did that wisdom come from? And does it hold up today? Find the Campaign Throwback series in the 538 Politics feed wherever you get your podcasts.
Now to our series, the GMA Grocery Challenge. We do love a challenge. And this morning, buying in bulk. When does shopping big save you big? And when does it not make so much sense? Our consumer correspondent, Becky Worley, when shopping, she has some answers for you.
Cases of chicken stock, pounds of peanut butter, a mountain of paper towels. Buying in bulk, the portions can be as large as the savings, but experts say that's not always the case.
Anything with an expiration date that can go bad quickly, you really want to be careful how much you buy in bulk, unless you know there's a certain amount that your family consumes within, say a week.
So what are some items you should think twice about? A few our expert points out are spices, salad kits, and bread, because they'll likely go bad before you can eat it all.
Food waste is really the biggest way people waste money on groceries.
To do a price comparison, my producer Sarah and I each went to bulk stores and grocery stores in our areas.
$4.99.
I found these salad kits for $4.99 at my local Safeway. Now, you can get double that size at Costco for $7.99, but you have to eat it before it goes bad. That's potential food waste that could cost $3. Sarah found garlic powder for $1.29 for 2.5 ounces at ShopRite. At Sam's Club, it's $8.84 for 21 ounces. That's a $7.50 savings, unless you're making mashed potatoes for an army. Other bulk items that can go bad more quickly than you think: olive oil. In many cases, its shelf life is only a few months once opened. Coffee. That fresh ground smell and taste starts to peter out after a while. And bagels. Eating that many bagels in a week, it's a lot. Yeah, they can be frozen, but just like coffee, fresher is better. Experts say strategizing the purchase of bulk store staples versus smaller grocery store items is the best way to save and avoid food waste.
So it really comes down to knowing how much is my family going to eat, what is going to last, and shop savvy and smart that way.
For Good Morning America, Becky Worley, ABC News, Oakland, California.
Our thanks to Becky, registered dietitian and cookbook author. Maya Fellers here with more smart shopping strategies. Always good to have you with us. Okay, let's get here. Fresh fruit. Yeah, okay, we like fresh fruit, but you're saying canned and frozen is also the way to go.
Robin, that is absolutely right. Canned and frozen can be fantastic for cost savings, and it can also be quite nutritious. This is where I want folks to be informed consumers.
Okay.
Look at that nutrition facts panel and label and make a choice based on your individual needs. Opt for things that don't have a lot of added sugars, fats, and salts, and have a plan for the fresh. You want to make sure that you eat it before it goes bad. Now, let's not forget about the dried goods. With the dried fruits, those can be absolutely wonderful. What I tell people is look for the ones that don't have a lot of added sugars, and package them yourself so that you can snack on them, and you know they're at the ready for you.
You have to have a plan, and this is where you have to have a plan as well, because staples are good, you know, in the pantry, but you say still have a plan.
Still have a plan. I love things like pasta and oats that really rounds out your pantry. I also like to have variety, so things like white rice, brown rice, red rice, black rice, very nutritious, varying degrees of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And also you want to store these in a container like this that is airtight, away from light, air, and water. Also, with these things, be sure that you have an expiration date in mind and use them as well. They last a long time, about 6 to 8 months, but really just keep an eye on it.
Because you can lose track of time.
You can absolutely. Now, Robin, I want to talk to you a little bit about things like nuts. I want you to open that fridge for me.
I got to go over here so I can use my good hand.
Okay, use the good hand.
Okay,
now,
so in the refrigerator, why are you having me open the fridge?
Because in the fridge, we've got nuts. So for maximum shelf stability, you can store your nuts in the fridge. They're amazing for snacking, and they last even longer in the fridge or freezer.
I have never thought about putting them in the fridge.
Yeah, it's such a great way to make them last longer. Also, I like to pack them into individual baggies and mix them up, because then you have your own homemade trail mix.
Ooh, I like that tip.
Okay, I'm going to pop this one in the freezer here. And then we're going to move on over here.
So you put it in the freezer like that?
Yeah, put them just in the freezer, just like this.
Okay, now protein. I don't know. Okay, because the tuna, yes, I get. Salmon, I get. Okay, but chicken, even canned
chicken. All right, so stay with me here. This is where folks are really going to have to be informed consumers. Read that nutrition facts label.
Please.
I know, canned chicken, you're like, what are you telling me, Maya? You've got to spice it up, season it so it pops on your plate. It can be delicious. It's great for cost savings. I'd say don't sleep on the, canned chicken breast, but give it a try.
Okay, all right. And also because the tuna, this really can last a while.
The canned tuna's amazing. Listen, you've got your omega-3 fatty acids. It's a fantastic source of protein. Tuna, mackerel, all of those mini fish, they're wonderfully nutrient dense, and you can add them to crackers, bread, salads. Really, there's so many cooking applications, and they're really wonderful and delicious.
Okay, and as are you. Wonderful and delicious. Thank you, Maya. You know who is also? I'll keep the streak going. Sunny Hostin. She is here. She's going to talk about her brand new book. It's her third one in the series. Come on back.
Thank you.
We're back now with our friend Sunny Hostin. She's an Emmy-winning co-host of The View, an ABC News legal analyst, not to mention a best-selling author. And her new book, Summer on Highland Beach, is out now. Sunny, good morning to you. We always love having you here with us in the studio.
I feel so good being here with all of you.
Well, it's good to have you here. Can I just for a minute?
Go ahead.
Can we have this shoe cam? Because you can't have these cute shoes and not show them.
Yes, thank you. They're not walking shoes. They're just posing shoes.
They're posing shoes.
They're posing
I like that.
shoes.
George, you want to pose with you?
Quickly move this out of the way.
Well, so let's talk about your Summer on Highland Beach. This is the third installment of your summer, beach trilogy.
Yeah.
You say that the setting is meaningful to you. Why is that?
Each setting is actually a character in the book. What I've decided is to set them in HBBCs. It's a federal designation. Historically black beach communities. People have heard of HBCUs, historically black, colleges and universities, never HBBCs. And so when I started learning about this, I thought, if I didn't know about it, people don't know about it. And so Oak Bluffs was the first book. That's an HBBC. Second book, Sag Harbor. In the Hamptons, yes, there are black folks in the Hamptons. And then Highland Beach, which for me, I left it for last because it's the most important to me. This is the oldest HBBC in the country, and it was Frederick Douglass's summer home. Can you imagine? So you're talking about generational wealth since the late 1800s, and this is where Frederick Douglass would summer, sit on his porch, and I sat there, and look across the bay where he was formerly enslaved.
Wow.
Imagine that. And I know a lot of people don't believe in ghosts, maybe George, but I felt the ancestors. It was that special for me. And so that's where this last book is.
So give us the elevator pitch on the story.
Well, it's an HBBC. We have a woman named Olivia who is our protagonist, and she is looking for self-love, self-care, self-value. She's looking for a chosen family, biological family, and more importantly, she is discovering that she gets to decide her value, her worth, who she is. And so it buttons up the series, I think. People are asking for more, but I think it buttons it up. And she's also, I'm trying to destigmatize mental health. And so I have a therapist, a black female therapist in the book, because I've been speaking to Taraji B. Henson. She's doing this amazing work. And I have a Dr. LaGrange who is giving this woman, Olivia, advice as to life and love. And it's got a little sex in it because it's a beach read, so you've got to have a little smut also.
Yeah, I remember when y'all were talking about that on The View. I'll let that slide. I know
Joy Behar likes her smut.
I know what's going there. What has it been like for you to share these places with your readers?
It's been unbelievable, Robin. The first book, you know, most books sell 5,000 books during the lifetime of the book. The first book sold 25,000 the first week. Wow. And so I realized that it resonated with readers. I visited Martha's Vineyard, and we had people print out T-shirts with the cover of the book, walking around and visiting the places, because it's historical fiction, so everything I write about exists. And they were visiting the carousel. The oldest carousel in the country is on Martha's Vineyard. They were visiting C'est La Vie, which is this wonderful black-owned store. It's been such a blessing to teach people history. You know, you want to feed your kids asparagus, but you want to maybe put a little peanut butter on it. That's what I'm doing. I'm teaching people American history. It's not just African American history, it's American history with a little bit of peanut butter on it so that it's digestible and so that they learn, because our history is being erased.
Yeah. And you talk about Olivia, your protagonist, your main character, and that she is trying to find out about her ancestors. But this was like a personal thing for you as well.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I did Finding Your Roots recently with Skip Gates, and I learned so much about my family. I learned that the grandfather on my father's side that I thought was my grandfather was not. I learned that my mom is Puerto Rican, but actually from Spain, and our family were slave owners. And so we had the enslaved on one side and slavers on the other. And what was so fascinating is I wanted to write to that. And so this is a journey for Olivia to find her ancestors, to find her people, to find her home. And it was very real for me. And I thank you, Skip Gates, for giving me all of that information.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a rich story.
Yeah,
and now you're turning the whole trilogy into a TV series with Octavia Spencer?
Yes. I sent this to Octavia Spencer. I think I wanted an Instagram post. I don't know what I wanted. And she called me and she said, "You're going to get a lot of offers for this book. Let me tell you why I should be your producing partner." And she sold me. She's my production partner. Prime Amazon bought it on pitch. And we just got greenlit for our pilot. And you'll be seeing it hopefully next year or the year after. And they have the option for all 3 books. So we're going to bring it to a whole new audience.
We should dream cast. I mean, Octavia is a dream to have as a partner.
Well, if Octavia is available, she will play Olivia's mom, Cindy. I also happen to know another Oscar winner named Whoopi Goldberg, who, if Octavia is unavailable, I'm going to ask Whoopi Goldberg to be Cindy. I would love the Duke from Bridgerton. Reggae, if you're watching.
Yeah.
I would love Lucienne from Emily in Paris. I would love Tessa Thompson. I would love Ilfanesh from Godfather. Oh, I have a storyboard. I dream big, okay? I want these people. I want Lenny Kravitz as Carter. Lenny, if you're watching. Yes.
You got a heck of a cast together there. Wow. Well, Sonny, we're so happy for you. I mean,
Congratulations.
It's a lot of work and it's paying off for you. And we're so happy when you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And in Sonny's book, Summer on Highland Beach. It is out now. Make sure you get yourself a copy of that. Now we're going to go to Ginger. Hey, Ginger.
So we got a vision board is what we just learned. All right, so we do have some exciting news from a galaxy not so far, far away. This week marks the 5th anniversary of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland in California. And the chairman of Disney Experiences is announcing a new initiative with Disney's long-term partners at the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
The Walt Disney Company's partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Hear ye, hear ye! Welcome one and all to the Royal Ball!
Making dreams come true for decades.
You're all royalty for the day!
We're honored that Disney's the #1 wish granter in the world. We're always trying to come up with new and innovative ways to make these kids' dreams come true.
On my command.
Disneyland now shooting for the stars.
This is why I'm so excited for our next big wish later this year when we invite Wish kids and their families to the Disneyland Resort. This will be a multi-day Star Wars experience culminating right here in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It is going to be the ultimate dream come true party in a galaxy far, far away.
Since the 1980s, the Make-A-Wish Foundation has partnered with Disney to grant more than 155,000 wishes to Make-A-Wish children.
Coming up, former Congressman Patrick Kennedy is here telling us about his new book, Profiles in Mental Health Courage.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this morning, former Congressman Patrick J. Kennedy here to talk about his new book, Profiles in Mental Health Courage. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Great to see you again, George.
We all know what that title is playing off as. Tell us about the book.
Yeah, well, President Kennedy obviously wrote about 8 U.S. senators who demonstrated great political courage. That was important for his time. Mental health courage is important for our time. We're having an epidemic of suicide and overdose. Young people suffering from record rates of depression and anxiety, but we're still not talking about it. You know, some people will say they have a diagnosis. Yes, that's great. But what we really don't know is how people live with these illnesses. You know, Simone Biles in the last Olympics said she couldn't perform because of mental health, but no one knew what that means. Like, how does that play out in her life? Well, how does that play out in anyone's life? And in this book, we feature 12 people who talk about how mental health impacts their daily lives. And we interview, George, their family members. So what's often left out of these stories are the closest people to someone who suffers from a mental illness. And I think our country, if we're going to tackle this problem, need to understand really the complexity of these illnesses. Because as you know, in politics, we just want a simple, easy solution. It's not going to be that, but that doesn't mean we can't get a solution.
And of course, this is a very personal journey for you.
I'm a person who's in long-term recovery, which means for me I have not had to use drugs or alcohol, or as we say in recovery, any pills, pot, or powder since February 22nd, 2011. And you know, George, I'm amongst 30 million Americans who are in long-term recovery. But most people don't know who those people are because we all live in church basements. We're all anonymous. If you were a politician and you looked out, you didn't see a series of people ready to vote for you because you did the right thing on mental health, then you wouldn't have been as active in trying to propose it. You know, I often liken this to the AFL-CIO. You know, if you're running for office on the Democratic side, even the Republican side, and you have a special interest group, you do what they ask you to do if you want their vote. We're the biggest special interest group in this country, but no one's holding politicians accountable to do the kinds of things that we know can make it.
So what would that look like, holding politicians
accountable? Well, it would
accountable?
mean we'd be accumulating all the listservs from every psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, peer supports. Then you could get all the families of suicide survivors, overdose survivors, anybody suffering from depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, eating disorders. If you ever brought all of us together, and frankly, we all share 99% of the same agenda, but we all go to Capitol Hill separately, and what we lose is the power of collective action. And that's what you did the war room, when President Clinton was, we need a war room. We need to put points on the board so anyone running for office in this country knows how many people in their district care about this issue.
How about on a personal level? How does someone help a family member struggling with addiction?
Well, it's kind of like that airlines, put your own mask on first, because you're not able to help someone else if you're reacting to them, if you're not in a good mental health position yourself. So the problem is people could respond to their loved one if they knew they had access. So as you know, when I was in Congress, I wrote the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act, which prohibits insurance companies from discriminating against these illnesses in reimbursement. And frankly, that's still a problem. In fact, President Biden's actually about to impose a rule on insurance companies that are already turning their hair gray because they're so worried about it. We in the mental health community ought to be saluting President Biden for pushing this. And of course, we know he suffered from these illnesses like everyone else. And I think that this is an issue that everyone needs to know that there's a political solution to it, because we feel overwhelmed in this world now. And I think that if we felt that we could actually do something, we would. And the problem is, George, we don't have that agenda laid out like every other special interest group has their agenda laid out.
You're doing it in this book. Thank you for coming in today, Patrick.
Thank you, George.
If you or someone you care about are experiencing suicidal, substance abuse, or other mental health crises, please call or text the new 3-digit code at 988. Profiles in Mental Health Courage is available now, and we'll be right back.
I'll tell you, another great day. It's been a wonderful week here on GMA.
Have a great day, everyone.